Hi everyone, welcome to the Roswell Park Comprehensive Cancer Center Nutrition Video Series sponsored by General Mills. My name is Sarah.
I'm Michelle.
And we're clinical dietitians at Roswell Park. This video series, we're going to give you some nutrition tips and some recipes for meals and snacks that align with the guidelines from the American Institute for Cancer Research, or AICR, and they have guidelines for cancer prevention. These guidelines are largely plant-based, so they include lots of fruits and vegetables, whole grains, beans, nuts, and seeds. Those are the types of foods that you want to fill up about 2/3 of your plate with.
You also want to aim to limit your red and processed meats, alcohol consumption, and added sugars in your diet.
If you haven't yet checked out our first couple videos in this series, we do some great quick vegetable recipes in those videos. And today we're going to start off with a recipe that includes some whole grains. We have some bulgur here and some beans. We're going to do chickpeas. We're going to put together this bulgur and chickpea salad. I'm going to start by chopping up some of our scallions and herbs here. We have parsley, mint, and dill, and we're going to put that in our dressing for our salad. So let's get started here.
I'm going to discuss bulgur for a little bit while Sarah's chopping. So this is a full cup of bulgur. It's a versatile grain. It's a whole grain. It's fast cooking. It's very similar to like brown rice. So it's pre-cooked, pre-boiled, and it cooks in about 10 minutes. So if you're looking for something that's fast, easy, we have some bulgur that's already pre-cooked, so we'll show you that. But if you are looking for something that you can make a big bulk of and you want something that you can make last for the full week, this is a great grain. You might be familiar with it with another recipe. Tabbouleh is another grain recipe that is earthy. It is mixed with other vegetables. It's very texturized. You might have had it in like an Indian dish. People are very familiar with that grainy dish. So it's a great dish to have with your family as a side dish with like fish. It's also a great dish to have hot or cold. So today we're actually going to have it as a cold dish. So Sarah's gonna talk a little bit more about how bulgur is more of a whole grain.
Yeah, so bulgur is actually a type of wheat, and what makes a grain a whole grain is if it contains all of the parts of the grain. So a grain kernel has 3 parts. It has the bran, the germ, and the endosperm, and those have different nutrients in each part. So the bran has a lot of the fiber in a whole grain, and the germ has a lot of the vitamins and minerals and healthy fats that are in a whole grain. When a grain is refined, so you have like your white flour or grains that aren't whole grains, they're taking away a lot of those pieces of the grain. And when you see a flour or a whole grain that's enriched, that means that they're adding some of it back. They're adding some of those nutrients back, but they're not usually in the same proportions that you would find in the whole grain. So we're using the whole grain recipes. You want to try to use whole grains as often as you can as your grains throughout the week. And like Michelle said, we have bulgur here. This is a gluten-free whole grain. I'm sorry, this is not a gluten-free whole grain because it is a wheat, and gluten is a protein that's found in wheat, rye, and barley. Do we have to avoid gluten, Michelle?
No. If you want a gluten-free grain, you can substitute for another grain. So like quinoa, brown rice, you can use corn. You can actually use buckwheat, and that might be a tricky grain because the word wheat is in the grain, but it actually is a gluten-free grain. But if you wanted something that had gluten in it, this could be your grain, and you don't have to avoid it. If you have intolerances to gluten or you have celiac disease, you could use the other grains I just mentioned.
Yeah, and other whole grain options, amaranth, corn is a whole grain, like we said, brown rice, whole wheat pasta, using whole wheat tortillas, oatmeal for breakfast. We'll do an oatmeal recipe in one of our later videos. And even as snacks, popcorn, whole wheat crackers. There's lots of different ways to include whole grains throughout your day. So right here I've chopped up our dill so far, and I'm doing some parsley as well. We're gonna use a combination of these two herbs. We're gonna do about 1/4 cup. I've also chopped up our scallions here, and those are going to be sauteed up with some garlic in a minute here. Like Michelle said, this recipe can be hot or cold. Since we already pre-cooked our bulgur, we're gonna do a cold recipe, which would make it great for a side dish or bringing to a picnic or even packing as a lunch. But you could do this and prepare it as a warm dish as well. So we've got about 1/4 cup here. Okay. And you want to start heating up our oil in our pan to saute our garlic and our scallions. We're gonna let our oil heat up, then we're going to put our chopped scallions in here and saute those for about 2 to 3 minutes. Then we're going to add the garlic for about 30 seconds until it gets nice and fragrant. And then we'll be able to add this all together with our bulgur that we have pre-cooked here and with our salad dressing. So I'm gonna mince up the garlic, and we have the scallions here for you to go in.
We also have our bulgur here that we pre-cooked. As you can see, that the bulgur is a little bit more fluffy. If you saw it, like I said, it had a texture to it. It takes about 10 minutes to cook up. You get a very large portion, so it can last you for the week, or if you're having a lot of people over or a large family, it is a very versatile grain. So I'm over here, I'm gonna just saute these scallions while Sarah's still chopping up the garlic. Scallions, they definitely are very flavorful. They are really great in the recipe because you don't have to use a ton of spices. If you don't like scallions, you can certainly add any other spices, like you could use an onion powder, you can use a garlic powder if you don't like them.
And I'm gonna bring over our garlic to toss in here as well. And that we're just gonna give about 30 seconds. We don't want the garlic to burn, we just wanna cook it up until it gets a little fragrant there. All right, looks like we're good to go there, so we'll turn that off and start mixing our salad together. All right, so we're gonna mix this together in our bowl. We'll put the bulgur right in there. All right, and then we'll add our warm garlic and scallion mixture. It smells great here.
If you love garlic, this is your recipe.
Then we can add in the juice of 1 lemon.
We used a fresh lemon, but you can use lemon that's already freshly squeezed.
And then we'll do a little olive oil, our chopped parsley and dill here, and the chickpeas. So beans are also great to include in the diet. They have fiber and protein. You want to try and get different beans or legumes into meals a couple times a week. This is a great way to try and help limit those red and processed meats. And it's, again, a good source of protein. This dish could be, your main entree, or it could serve as a side as well. I'm also chopping up some mint here.
We used canned beans as well. If you want fresh beans, chickpeas are a little bit harder to cook and they may take a little bit longer, but if you're looking for fast beans, canned are definitely the best way to go. We rinsed them, drained the juices from the can, and we used 1 full can of beans.
Okay, and then we will add some salt and pepper here just to taste. Put a little pinch of pepper and a little pinch of salt. Then we will mix this all together, get the dressing really combined in here. This would be good to make ahead as well, because if this sits overnight, in the refrigerator, that's really gonna let these flavors blend together really well too. And there we go. Just get this plated up here.
So because this is a cold dish, you would probably want to pair it with a lean protein. You could do chicken, you could do fish. It would complement it very well. This is probably gonna, because it has the beans, the whole grains, that would complement 2/3 of your plate.
All right, and the next few recipes that we'll do some fish and salad as well that this would pair well with, you know, fish, grilled veggies again, or you can just kind of have it on your own as a lunch or as a side dish too. So we've got all plated up here nice, and we'll move on to our next recipe. All right, and for our next recipe, we're going to put together a really quick meal. We're gonna do some fish, sweet potatoes, and a salad. This is a meal that you could make, you know, in family-sized portions or in an individual portion. You could do this on the stovetop and in the oven, but we're actually gonna do the entire thing in the microwave today, make it super quick and simple. You know, cooking at home doesn't have to be complex or fancy. We're gonna do a simple meal today. We have everything sort of portioned out and ready to go. We planned ahead so that this will be quickly put together.
Yeah, I went and I got some frozen fish. I got canned beans. Even the beets are canned. The only thing that really isn't canned or frozen is the sweet potato. I even used bagged lettuce, but if you don't like bagged lettuce or greens, you can certainly get fresh, chop them up yourself, wash them, perfectly fine. But everything here is either canned, frozen, or from a bag.
All right, and we're gonna start with our salad so that we'll have that ready to go, and once we heat up our fish and our sweet potatoes, those will be warm, ready to plate. So what I'm doing here is I'm just chopping up some fresh garlic for our salad dressing. And then you can start mixing it together. We've got a little bit of mustard here. We're going to mix it with some olive oil and some salt and pepper. The salt and pepper is just to taste, and we also have about a 1/4 cup of lemon juice as well. I'm going to chop up the garlic here. Smells good already. Throw the lemon juice in there. And add our minced garlic. Okay, you just want to mix that up. So as Michelle said, we have our just sort of bagged mixed greens here, but you can use any sort of lettuce for this. You can, you know, grab a head of romaine, iceberg lettuce, anything that you want. Just rinse it, chop it, put it in the salad here. What we're going to do first with our dressing is just put a little bit into our bowl with our beets here. Again, these are canned sliced beets. We rinsed them off first. We actually bought no salt added. That's good there. And then I'll mix this together. And then we'll just kind of let this sit while we cook the rest of our meal so that the flavor really marinates in the beets there. And then we're going to add our cannellini beans. And Michelle, these are a great source of protein, right?
Oh, absolutely. Protein is really good because you feel satisfied when you're eating protein. If you're worried about overeating in the day and trying to be mindful, protein definitely is great from a bean source. Also, it has fiber. As we were talking in some other videos, fiber also can fill you up, make you feel satisfied. So, you know, 2 great aspects from the cannellini beans.
All right, we're just gonna toss this all together. Like I said, this is, you know, a family-sized portion here, but you could just do this salad, you know, just as a single portion. So we'll get this tossed here, and then we're gonna set it aside, and we're going to start with our fish and our sweet potatoes. So our sweet potatoes, what we're gonna do is just pierce those with a fork, and then they are going to go into the microwave for about 3 minutes. And then we'll test them with a knife. We want to just make sure that they're soft. We're going to mash these up once they are done in the microwave. And then we're going to throw in our cod into the microwave. This recipe would be good with cod or haddock. You want to make sure that when you are thawing your frozen fish, you're doing it either in the refrigerator overnight or under cold running water.
And you want to put a couple pierces from the fork in there because these potatoes are pretty big. So you know, putting just 1 or 2 pierces probably wouldn't cook them, so I would put multiple pierces through your potatoes. You can even cut off or chop the ends if you want to. I just didn't do that this time.
All right, and then we will pop these in the microwave and get them going.
So we're back with the potatoes. They're all set out of the microwave. You can try to heat them for about 3 to 4 minutes. These ones took a little bit extra because like I said, they are large. We took a knife, we pressed it into the potato just to see if it was done. And as you can see, the knife goes straightly through. So we'll get it ready and prepare the rest of the recipe.
All right. So we're gonna let those cool for a second, and then I'm going to mash them together. While I'm doing that, Michelle's going to put the cod in the microwave. We're gonna put a cover on it. We're gonna put that in the microwave on a medium power for about 3 minutes. And then we're gonna take it out, season it. We have some dried dill, lemon juice, and a little salt and pepper. So we're gonna flip it over, season it halfway through, then put it back in for another 3 minutes. So while you get that going, I'm going to start mashing our potatoes here. So once your potatoes are cool enough to touch, we're going to kind of cut into them here. And again, we have the nice soft potatoes. And we're going to do a quick mash on these. So what I'm going to do is just sort of scoop the inner part of the potato into the bowl here. You could leave the skin on if you want for some extra fiber, or you could take it off for a little bit of a smoother mashed potato. Okay. This in here. And again, if you wanted to just do one potato or half of a potato for one serving, you could do that, or you could put in, 3 or 4 potatoes if you wanted to make a, family-sized portion here. Once we have our potatoes mashed, we are going to add 2 tablespoons of a plain fat-free Greek yogurt, as well as we have some maple syrup and a little bit of orange juice as well. We used just a bottled orange juice, but you could do some fresh squeezed orange juice too. This here. And then once we mash this all together and our fish is done, we can stick this back in the microwave for a couple minutes just to bring it back up to temperature. You're gonna start putting in some of the Greek yogurt. Okay. That's the orange juice going in. It'll bring out a nice bright flavor. And the maple syrup, and you could use any kind of sweetener that you want in here. This would go well with, honey or regular sugar. As far as, the health benefits go, there's really not going to be any difference between any of those types of sweeteners. Okay. All right, and then we can go, again, check on our cod and season it. We are going to use a food thermometer to make sure that our cod is up to 145 degrees before we take it out of the microwave. And then we will pop the potatoes back in and just bring those up to temperature as well.
So we have our fish all completed. What we did is we heated it unseasoned for about 2 to 3 minutes, covered. Then we took it out of the microwave and we added the dill. Well, first we flipped it because you want to make sure both sides are cooked. So then we added the dill, the lemon, the salt and pepper, and then we put it back into the microwave covered, and we cooked it for another about 2 minutes. And we took it out, put the food thermometer in it, and we wanted to make sure it's at 145. It was perfectly cooked. And then we had our finished product. So this is our fish, and we're gonna make a complete plate. And we have Sarah dishing up the sweet potatoes because we put them back in the microwave to just, get it a little bit reheated because they were sitting out cooling for a little bit. So we wanted to make sure we had warm sweet potatoes, warm fish, and then our salad to plate.
Yeah, and you want to try and include seafood at least twice a week. Again, this is a great way to try to limit the red and processed meats in the diet and get what we call our healthy fats from seafood. So, we're using cod here. If you're using a fattier fish like salmon, that has what we call omega-3 fats in it, which are good for heart health. So getting a variety of seafood, a couple servings a week is what is recommended. So we have our piece of cod here that we'll plate up, and our sweet potatoes, and then I will dish up our salad here. So again, we had this dressed already. We have our greens and our cannellini beans.
We have the beets too that go with the salad. Very colorful, reddish, maroon. So you want that rainbow look to your plate, which, you know, if you have a plate that you're used to making maybe with like chicken and then maybe mashed potatoes and cauliflower, that might just be a very bland white looking plate. So if you add color to your plate, you're getting those phytochemicals, which are very cancer fighting. So that's what we're trying to produce here today.
Yeah, and you have a, you know, easy to put together meal. Like I said, we did this in the microwave and, you know, no extra cooking involved, but it doesn't have to be a boring meal. We're using different textures. We're using the crunchiness of the salad with the mashed potatoes. Like Michelle said, different colors to get you different nutrients, and different temperatures as well. We have the warm fish and potatoes with a nice cool salad. So bringing in all of those different textures and colors and flavors really can bring together an exciting dish that looks very appetizing without having to, you know, use too many different cooking techniques or take too much time. So again, you can do this as a single portion or as a family meal, and we've got this beautiful plate ready to go here.
So that is the end of this video series. We want to thank you for you know, participating and coming to watch us today. This is our chickpea and bulgur salad with some dill fresh mint. And this is our other plate with the cod, sweet potato mash, and our fresh greens and beets salad with cannellini beans.
All right, so make sure again that you check out the other videos in our series. We have a couple videos that we've done so far with some other veggie recipes, and our next video will go over breakfast and some snack options. Thanks again for joining us, and thanks to General Mills for sponsoring these videos, and hopefully you can try some of these recipes at home.